requests for time, I am prepared to close after my colleague has yielded back his time. So I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Florida yields back the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from Guam.
Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman from Guam yields back the balance of her time. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and agree to House Resolution 940? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The resolution is agreed to. The gentleman from Guam.
I request the yeas and the nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. All those in favor of taking this vote by the yeas and nays will rise and remain counted. Remain standing until counted. Sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20 and the chair's prior announcement, further proceedings on this motion will be postponed. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Guam rise?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and agree to House Resolution 845 as amended.
The clerk will report the title of the resolution.
House Resolution 845, resolution recognizing the United States Air Force and Dyess Air Force Base for their success in achieving energy savings and developing energy-saving innovations during Energy Awareness Month.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentlewoman from Guam, Ms. Bordallo, and the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Rooney, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Guam.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I might consume, and I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks on the resolution under consideration.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to support House Resolution 845, recognizing the United States Air Force and Dyess Air Force Base for their success in achieving energy savings and developing energy-saving innovations. I would like to thank my colleague and former neighbor, Mr. Neugebauer, for his work in bringing this resolution to the floor. The Air Force pledge to become a more energy efficient has facilitated both resourceful engineering projects and simple solutions, such as the installation of low electronic dimming lights in hangars at Dyess Air Force Base. While the projects at Dyess Air Force Base range in size and scope, the end result is a 16.5% reduction in energy usage at a savings of over $1 million in 2008. The diligence exhibited by the Air Force and leadership at Dyess Air Force Base serves as a good example of what can be achieved in energy savings, not only at other bases, but in government facilities, private businesses, and personal households. The men and women at this base in Abilene, Texas, continue to display a commitment to conserve energy and remain faithful stewards of the taxpayers' money. They accomplished all of this without sacrificing their ultimate mission to fly, fight, win. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to join me in congratulating the United States Air Force and Dyess Air Force Base for their successes in energy conservation by supporting House Resolution 845. And I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I might consume.
Gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong support of House Resolution 845, which recognizes the United States Air Force and Dyess Air Force Base, Texas, for their innovative approaches and success in achieving energy savings. I want to commend Representative Randy Neugebauer of Texas for sponsoring this legislation. Mr. Speaker, as the largest user of energy in the federal government, the Air Force has been a national leader in seeking ways to conserve energy, eliminate waste, and seek alternative sources of energy at its 166 large and small installations around the world. With this exemplary group of military installations, Dyess Air Force Base, Texas, was just one of 3 Air Force installations recognized by the Department of Energy as a 2009 Federal Energy and Water Management Award winner. In earning this distinction, Dyess Air Force Base personnel reduced energy consumption by more than 16% and saved over $1 million without sacrificing mission accomplishment in any way. This is why it is therefore right and proper that we recognize the Air Force and Dyess Air Force Base, Texas, for their leadership and outstanding accomplishments in energy stewardship. I urge all members to support this resolution, and Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from Guam.
Mr. Speaker, I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Speaker, at this time I'd like to yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, the sponsor of this resolution, Mr. Neugebauer.
Gentleman from Texas recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today I rise in recognition of the United States Air Force in their tremendous efforts as leaders in the federal government's participation in Energy Awareness Month this past October. America depends on the Air Force to continually provide an umbrella of security, deter our nation's enemies, and provide safe and efficient and effective transportation of essential personnel supplies to carry out their mission. As the largest single user of energy in the federal government, the Air Force faces the daily challenge of improving their energy efficiency while continuing to provide our nation and her allies with the most reliable Air Force in the world. Mr. Speaker, I would like to also take this opportunity to congratulate Dyess Air Force Base, located in my district. Dyess Air Force Base was recently recognized by receiving the Department of Energy's Federal Energy and Waste Management Award. The Federal Energy and Waste Management Award recognizes individuals and groups and agencies for their outstanding contributions in the areas of energy efficiency, water conservation, and the use of advanced and renewable energy technologies at their federal facilities. Having earned this award in the past, Dyess Air Force Base continues to be a model for smart energy use. As we recognize October as Energy Awareness Month throughout the federal government, Dyess Air Force Base has made an outstanding contributions in the areas of energy efficiency, water conservation, and the use of advanced and renewable energy technologies. Some of the energy-saving initiatives included a system that employs a pond and an ice plant through which water is circulated and used to cool the installation during the hot summer months, reducing the energy used by the B-1 bomber simulator over 30%, saving almost $239,000. They also developed a way to use previously unusable water through an abandoned pipeline for use of the installation's golf course, thereby saving almost 160 million gallons of fresh water each year. All told, in 2008, Dyess Air Force Base reduced its total energy consumption 16.5% and saved the American taxpayers over $1 million. I'm proud of this achievement, and it's an honor that this award brings to the Air Force and the people of the 19th Congressional District and to the state of Texas. As we step towards developing sustainable and alternative energy sources, we must continue to work to increase our energy efficiency. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to personally congratulate and insert into the record the following names: Tom Denslow, Danny Dobbs, Ron Miller, Daniel Thatcher of Dyess Air Force Base, and Steve DeMont of Air Combat Command for their efforts to reduce energy use and to make that base model a model of energy use. It is because of their hard work and dedication that America's dollars are better utilized and airmen are best served. And with that, Mr. Chairman, Madam Speaker, I will yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from Guam.